NBA last night, the Spurs beat the Lakers on the heels of Victor Wembanyama, who dropped 40 points, 37 of those in the first half alone when the Spurs were up by 29 points. The Lakers have dropped 2 in a row, but they were extremely shorthanded, not having LeBron, Luka, and others. The Spurs have now won 5 straight. Here is Victor Wembanyama, and still trying to get back in during the blowout last night.
I was also pushing to go back, but I mean, they did the right choice by keeping me on the bench. We got to think long term. But yeah, I mean, this kind of games, you got to have, the greed. I mean, every game, you have to have this greed, to want more every time. Because, at all times, it doesn't matter who's on the court. There's somebody who's going to want to stop you from doing what you do out there. So you got to be greedy.
Got to be greedy. How much more greedy could we get? He only played 26 minutes, and he still ended the night with 40 points. His second career game with 40 points in 30 minutes or less. Wemby is just the 7th player with those kind of numbers in multiple games since the minutes were first tracked in the 1951-52 season. And so as we take a step back and really look at who Wembanyama is becoming in the NBA, what do you think, Chiney? Do you think he is the most dominant player right now in the association?
First of all, it is so good to be back here on First Take. You know it's hoop season when I pull up. And Stephen A., I'm actually, you gave me a beautiful introduction. I'm mad. You out here in L.A., in my city, and you didn't even text me? I didn't know. I had to find out on this platform that you are.
I was going to surprise. I was going to surprise the NBA Today crew and just show up. I was just going to do that. At my discretion.
Okay.
So you never know with me.
We won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody. You can still surprise us. Still pull up. I love you. It's all good. It's all good. To answer your question, Shae, yes. Victor Wembanyama is absolutely right now the most dominant player in the NBA. And this is no knock on SGA, what he's been able to do. Nikola Jokic, ever since he's been back. Luka Doncic, his phenomenal numbers. When we talk about dominant, I love that word and that distinction. In the NBA, we think of maybe the last 5 years, guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, couple decades past, Shaquille O'Neal. Dominance means what you do on both ends of the floor. And it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. We have this group chat, and speaking of NBA Today, we have this group chat. In the last 2 days, the group chat has been crazy, especially coming off of the Detroit-Charlotte game. I was like, y'all see what's happening? And then again, this one coming from spectacular action, this performance, I hit the group chat and I said, you guys, are you seeing what Wemby is doing? 17 points or so in the first 4 minutes, 25 in the first 8. It's interesting because most players, when you see LeBron and Luka not suiting up, people would take their foot off the glass. If you saw when the ball was tipped and he scored his first basket, he had those hungry eyes. San Antonio Spurs, this was their 53rd game of the season. It did not matter. He approaches every second that he's playing like it's a sacrament. And I do believe he has that ultimate fear factor. So is he probably the best player? No, he's going to be that soon. But is he right now the most dominant player? I believe so.
Well, first off, tell Shaq, Steve, that Malone's still better. 3 MVPs to 1 when you drop in there.
You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable.
You're nuts. Tell Shaq. Tell Shaq
Watch your mouth.
Number 2, listen, Wembanyama's great. I'm not going to dispute that. And San Antonio's 10-3 against these good teams. Denver, the Lakers, and Oklahoma City. They're 4-1 against Oklahoma City, so they'll be dangerous. But remember, before we go out there and build statues all over the place, in his second year, Alcindor won a championship, MVP, and he had won 3 straight championships in college. So, and this is who he's going to be compared to as his season moves along, because Kareem's the best center. Depends how you want to look at it. Wilt, Russell, maybe Jokic down the road. But he is going to be viewed on that level, Wembanyama. So that's he hasn't won a playoff game yet. This is his second season. Now, they're playing well. They're 36-16. He got to stay healthy. He seems to have done it all, but he has not won a playoff game, and it's a young team with a young coach. So I'm not quite ready to put them on this incredible level that the Spurs are the team to beat in the Western Conference. That's what I would say.
Listen. You're just a curmudgeon. For those who don't understand that word, look it up. Just an individual that just finds excuses to complain. You're ridiculous.
Like a fair point, I thought.
The question was, is he the most dominant NBA player?
Thank you.
Now. Nobody brought up the 60s and the early 70s with Lou Alcindor, who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Nobody asked about that. We didn't sit up there and say, how do you compare him to the all-time great 7-footers? That was not the question. The question is, today, with Jokic in the league, with Embiid in the league, with so many other players in the league, where does this guy rank in terms of his level of dominance? And at 7'5", shooting 51% from the field, 37% from three-point range at 7'5". The dude is a bona fide three-point shooter. He's a bona fide perimeter shooter at 7'5". 11 rebounds, 24 points a game. We get all of that, nearly 3 blocks per game. But when you look at the fact that he's 7'5", and he could step away from the basket to shoot threes, and the fluidity with which you see him playing offensively. And then you recall looking at the reigning defending NBA champions like Jalen Williams being asked about why do you guys have so much trouble with the San Antonio Spurs. He says, it's like 7'5". That would be a reason. What he didn't say is that the rest of the league looks like mini-me going up against him. You have dudes like LeBron James and others looking up at him like this, not like this, like this, like, damn, what are you supposed to do? And that's what you're going up against. And by the way, let me say this because I think it's important to bring this up. What the hell is wrong with the Lakers? You have to rest all 5. See, this is the kind of stuff. That's why they're lucky they got their contract. The 11-year, $77 billion contract. It's not just the Lakers. Steve Kerr has done this before, whatever. Why would you sit all 5 stars? There's paying customers in the seats. You think they wanted to see LaRavia? You think they wanted to see these cats? That's who they came to see play at the Crypto.com arena? It's the Los Angeles Lakers, purple and gold, and LeBron and Luka, even though Luka's hurt, and Austin Reeves all sitting out, and DeAndre Ayton, hasn't he shown enough times that he's looking like, he's from the Bahamas? Hasn't he shown enough times that, resembling a dude that's walking on the beach with his sandals on instead of in sneakers, running up and down a court for 94 feet? That's what DeAndre Ayton has looked like sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. It's like, damn. And Wembanyama went out on the court and said, this is what you got up against me? You knew I was coming to town? You knew I was going to be in the house, and this is what you put up against me? That's why he scored 17 straight damn points. That's why he sat up there and had 37 in the first half. Because how dare you disrespect me like that? That's what he was saying and toying with the Los Angeles Lakers. Damn. That's all I want to say about that. Go ahead, y'all.
Sinead, go ahead.
And I think that's why it made the back-to-back, the loss previously, so egregious, and that's why you got LeBron James giving remarks like a curmudgeon, if we're going to use that word, because he understood that was a must-win game, knowing what they're going up against in Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. I'll just say this. I know when it comes to dominance, a lot of times people like you, Mad Dog, don't want to crown someone too early, right? But the fact is, and I grew up watching this show. I talk about this all the time on NBA Today. I know Perk yesterday was talking about he fears reality shows, right? I watch Fear Factor. Victor Wembanyama has a unique fear factor. When he steps on the floor and starts going turbo mode, there's absolutely nothing you can do. When he decides he's going to play downhill, he's going to go into the pick and rolls, and he's literally looking at the basket, dropping the ball in, there's nothing you can do. He is that combination of force, being unstoppable, and then he's going to go back and hit step-back threes like James Harden. He's going to hit step-back threes like Luka Doncic, who was watching them. I know, Stephen A., you were feeling bad that the Lakers fans came and they did not see their star players on the floor. I don't feel bad in this one because they got to watch the future of basketball. They got to see Victor Wembanyama do something so rare, and I'm actually glad that they didn't put him out there because that's how you're supposed to handle your superstars. You have to protect them from going out there, and you never know what happens if he stays out there while they're up 40 or 30 points. Like, they did the right thing, the Spurs did. But I guess the point that I'm trying to say here is the fact that Victor Wembanyama, when he decides to play downhill, and then when he's in single coverage and he feels confident for making his close to the basket shots, he's virtually unguardable because he's confident in that outside shot as well. He shoots it in the mid-range like Kawhi. He knocks down threes like James Harden when he's in the groove. And lastly, no one can stop him in the paint. He's just scratching the surface.
Let me tell you this, Sinead. We got a treat, and we always get a treat when we see Wembanyama. The brother's legit, no doubt about it. He's a star in this league. He's a future star for this league at 7'5" with his skill set. If he was 7, let's stop acting like we haven't seen somebody in the league 7'5" before. We have seen it. We've seen it in the Yao Mings of the world. We've seen it in the Sean Bradleys of the world and others. We haven't seen somebody 7'5" with this skill set. And the only reason, you marvel with appreciation, obviously, at his greatness. And it reminds you to a lesser degree of KD. It should elevate our appreciation for Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant is a legitimate 7-footer. You can try this nonsense, 6'9". I don't know what the hell they talking about. This brother's 7 feet tall, 7'6" wingspan with a handle and a J. Okay, that's Wembanyama at 7'5". So let's get that out the way. But no, I'm going to push back on you, Sinead, here when you talk about it doesn't bother you that much because it was a treat. Well, you know what? How big of a deal is it to be a big man in a small man's contest? The fact is that whether it's LaRavia or anybody else that the Lakers put on the court last night, the reality is that a star came into the building in Tinseltown, and none of the stars for the Los Angeles Lakers, purple and gold, were in uniform, ready to play. That is disgraceful. And it's anyone, and I'm not picking on the Lakers because I can't tell you how many times I've been annoyed at Steve Kerr when you walk into a building and Steph and Draymond and you got several starters out of the damn line. It was like, damn, y'all, there is a paying customer. And see, this is the kind of stuff that makes people, particularly old schoolers and others who they ingratiate themselves with, resent the product. This is what has the league going crazy, because you got to do all kinds of things from a creative or curating standpoint to come up with stuff just to make up for what shouldn't be happening. You should show up to work. Now, work it out. If you got LeBron James off, make sure somebody else is playing. If you got Austin Reeves off, make sure somebody else is playing. But then everybody, that is disrespectful and insensitive and dismissive to the fans.